Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of No More Yes Girls, where we, your hosts, Vivian and Vianney, talk about our healing journey. And as the episodes come by, I feel like we've been talking more and more about different types of emotions, controls, triggers, how to let go of certain fears, how to let go of certain guilts. But we really want to dive into more, I feel like more of something that doesn't really or we really don't talk about in our culture, and it's boundaries. Um, every family, or at least within a Hispanic household or Hispanic culture, boundaries are seen as something selfish from anyone. It can be a family member, it can be a friend, it can be a daughter, it can be the son, whoever. Um, and it just feels so, I feel like it feels like you're just ashamed to put boundaries. Like it feels so shameful putting
Yeah.
boundaries. And sometimes you can get scared doing that. And sometimes we can, again, that control and that fear of guilt tends to be overcoming upon us every time we try to set a boundary. Something that I've been thinking about is why are why do boundaries feel like betrayal in our culture? I don't know. That's something that I
Yeah.
think a lot of us can just think about and actually think about that answer. And what does that look like? Like, what does it look like or feel like or live like?
You know what, sister? I think that boundaries can be taken as betrayal because we grew up with a lot of yo soy el adulto y tú eres el niño, tú no sabes.
Yeah, yeah,
You have to do what I say
yeah.
because I'm right and you're wrong.
Hmm.
And so at the moment where you grew up and now you're the adult and you
Hmm.
want to set a boundary, oh no, it's
Yeah.
how could you? Why would you? You know? And it's like, well, you basically set your boundaries when you said it has to be done the way I want you to do it,
Yeah, yeah.
you know? So it's, maybe that's why, it feels so much like a betrayal. And but it's just not just to the people where you or how you set your boundaries and how the other people perceive it, but it's also having to work or having to like go through with your boundary, like, you know what, no, like this is it, like this is, I don't like this, and
Hmm.
having to stand up for yourself, it's
Hmm.
hard,
Yeah, it
you know
really is. For me personally, I always felt that setting boundaries meant I didn't love my family.
mm,
Point blank. Like it just, I felt selfish. I felt guilty. I felt ashamed. I I really did, especially with my parents or um, family members close by, or even significant others. It just, um, I just felt like I was losing myself at the same
mm,
time.
right.
But I honestly thought that was that I honestly thought that that was love. And
Yeah, because how
now
can
I
you
look at it.
feel,
Yeah.
yeah, how can you feel like, or to go to that extreme of I want to set a boundary, but if I do, it feels like I don't love them. Like
Yeah.
how do you get to, because I don't get to that point. For me, I see it more like as a disrespect. Like, oh, I'm disrespecting them if I set a boundary. But to feel like I don't love them, I
Mhm.
don't, like, why would you feel that way? Or how did you come to feel that way?
I've always been a people pleaser. I've always
Hmm.
stayed quiet. And I think it was also embedded in me where you have to stay quiet, you have to be silenced, you have to do what I say. And I know more and I know better than you. So I always had that in
Hmm.
mind, especially when it came to men. And I always thought that I needed to show my worth, proving my proving them that I'm worthy of love if I didn't set boundaries. if I just did whatever they asked me
Hmm.
to, if I just did whatever they said, if I just stayed quiet and just be very adaptable. And for so long, I mean, I felt that way. Like I never spoke up because, oh my gosh, if I speak up, they're not going to love me. Or if I speak up, um, they're going to think I'm selfish. They're going to think I'm worthless. They're going to think that I'm not um, worthy of love.
Mm.
And and it's not fair to them because of all the sacrifices that they've done, of all the things that they try to have a better life here, and all the work that they've been doing just to live a more fulfilled life, when in reality it wasn't really something that I really cared for.
Yeah, and it's so interesting. This is what I love about our conversations, because what you perceive as, or what you perceived as, I don't love them, and for me was a disrespect. And even though we had the same upbringing, like we got to
Yeah,
do what they tell us, but you
yeah,
perceived it differently than I did. And this is what I love about it, because everybody, you know again, we're our own individuals,
yeah.
so everybody thinks different. And it just, ultimately, at the end of the day, whether it's feeling like you don't love them and me feeling like it's a disrespect, they still feel betrayed at the
Hmm.
end of the day.
Hmm.
So it's very interesting to have these two different,
Yeah,
ways of
and we
thinking.
we lost ourselves, and we lost ourselves
Hmm.
within those
Yeah,
transitions just differently.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, it's, the same thing. I grew up with the same thing as you did. The same, uh, can't really even say principles, but um, having to listen to what they tell you, because, we don't know anything, we're growing. And ultimately being like trying to find yourself and saying, no, I have feelings too. And I don't like this, and I want to
Yeah.
set a boundary, but
Hmm.
yet feeling that guilt of setting a boundary,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
feeling like, should I not? Like, I don't want to come off like I'm mean. I don't want to come off like, you know, um, I'm better than everybody else. Like, I just want to be, me and happy, and I want to say no. And so it's, ultimately it's the same thing, however you perceive it. So how do you think, sister, would be a way to set a boundary without someone or a loved one taking it the wrong way? Do you think there's a way of doing that?
I think it's all in the communication
Hmm.
aspect of it. I mean, it might sound very direct or blunt towards other people, but at the same time, it's a peace and the love that you need for yourself. So I look at it this way. If it's if I need to set a boundary, or if I need to say no, or if I need to say like, hey, thank you for thinking about me, but I'm going to pass this time. For the people that you need to set boundaries on, it's going to be people that will not understand where you're coming from
Hmm.
and who are not on the same wavelength. Because setting boundaries with people who are not in that same wavelength as you are not going to understand, and they're going to think that you're selfish. They're going to think that you're rude, that you're disrespectful, that you're mean, that you don't want to help, that they're going to try to guilt trip you. They're going to try to feel, or they're going to try to just bring you down.
They feel
When people,
attacked.
yes, and
Hmm.
or triggered, either or.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
true.
and so when you actually come out of that and come out of that fearful or guilty mentality, you just let them say what they need to say. But at the same time, you're protecting your peace, you're protecting your love, you're protecting your bubble.
Yeah.
And um and the people who are somewhat in the same wavelength are going to understand. If you say no, they'll be like, all right, then they're not going to take it personal. They are not going to take it personal. They're going to understand and they'll wait until you need to figure out what you need to figure out or when you're ready, or they'll try again next time and with no hard feelings.
Yeah.
And I feel that when it's time to set boundaries with people who are toxic or people who just drain us entirely, it's better to say, hey, it's not you. I just need some time for myself. Talk to them in a way where they understand. Because if it's coming out like you're just too much for me right now, oh my gosh, they're gonna blow up. They're
Yeah.
gonna blow up and it's gonna be an argument that you really did not need, or a discussion that you really did not need to talk about whatsoever.
Yeah.
But if you talk to them in a language that they understand or communicate in a way that they maybe comprehend, I think it would be a little more easier, and just remove yourself from that situation or that relationship in the meantime and be like, I love you, but I need my distance.
Yeah.
Or I love you, but I also need time to also love me.
Yeah. You know what that reminds me of right now that you just said that, um, growing up, that our parents would tell us, tienes que hacer esto y tienes que hacer lo otro, or te regañan, or,
Mhm.
o te pegan, or te pegaban.
Mhm.
Uh, es que te quiero, es que porque te quiero, por
Yeah,
eso lo
it's
hago, porque te
yeah.
quiero. And it's like, and now we're using that too. I don't know if we could say against them, but because I love you, I need to set a boundary.
Yes,
This is not
yes.
okay.
I'm not hitting you, but
Yeah.
I need to set a boundary
Yeah.
porque te quiero.
Yeah, porque te quiero, porque te amo, por eso lo hago.
Yeah,
That's
exactly, exactly.
yeah, but yeah, I mean, and you know what? At the end of the day, you're gonna get judged regardless,
Yeah.
whether you're still in the same position or you start setting boundaries, you're gonna
Hmm.
get judged.
Hmm.
So might as well get judged for being happy
You,
yourself,
yeah, yeah,
for being okay with yourself and for saying, no, I don't want to, or I don't
yeah,
like that, or you know what, it's okay, but I'm fine right now. you know I'd rather be judged for that than be judged for staying in the same place or whatever. But I mean, regardless, I feel like judging shouldn't exist, but it is what it is. um
I mean,
at the end of the
yeah,
day, we all fall for it either way. I mean, we're not all perfect, we'll judge regardless. But yeah, I mean, it is something that when you start setting boundaries, it triggers a lot of people,
yeah. Oh,
and
hmm,
yeah, and I mean, you started setting boundaries. Now you have no children. I started setting boundaries because of my children,
yeah,
you know so it's teaching them to set boundaries, and setting boundaries myself. It's different. So whatever it is that's gonna help you set a boundary, even for healing, you need to set boundaries for healing.
hmm,
I had to stay away from people. They would invite me
hmm,
places, they stopped inviting me places, but I needed to be away from people that were not serving me or were not helping me.
hmm,
And unfortunately, that has a lot to do with family, because that
yeah,
is the biggest, they're your biggest critics, your biggest judges,
hmm,
and it's not healthy.
hmm,
And I don't blame them. I mean, if they would have known what we know now, or had the education that we have, it might be a little different. But I feel like working on yourself and setting those boundaries can be an example for them.
yeah, for sure.
So
And not coming out with, well, if only you did this for me, or if only you
mm,
just take it back, or throw it at you. And it's like, no,
yeah,
well,
guilt
she
tripping you.
already said no. Yeah, she already said no. Why are you going to ask her again?
Right.
And it's, yeah, a lot of guilt trip, and it's going to come out. It doesn't matter how healed you are or how many boundaries you put, it's still going to happen. And we just have to be strong. We just have to be
Yeah.
strong and still be firm. Be firm,
Yeah.
and it's okay. It's okay to set boundaries. It's okay to say no. It's okay to be at peace with yourself. It's okay to continue loving yourself. It's okay to continue loving people from a distance, and go with that, because at the end of the day, they're not the ones who are going to be with you 24/7. You're going to be with yourself 24/7.
Yeah.
And if you're not happy with yourself, if you still feel guilty with yourself, if you still feel drained out, burnt out, overwhelmed, fatigued, like all of these emotional symptoms overcoming you because you're over here people pleasing, or you're over here doing everything that other people say, or they call you and you drop everything just to attend them when they can't even, and when it's not even reciprocated. It's it's hurtful. It's really hurtful because you're the one busting your butt out trying to please everybody else, making sure everybody else is okay. When in reality, you're the one dying inside. You're the one killing yourself inside. You're the one draining your energy inside. And are you going to come home to that person every night and be happy because you're that person? Are you even happy being that person? We got to ask ourselves that, because it can be a very harsh life if you let other people overstep you and overstep your boundaries. And it's not something that is it's not something to or it's not fun living that way.
Yeah.
And you're not happy. You're not happy living that way. And you come home crying, you come home struggling, you come home feeling worthless sometimes. And I mean, I know all of that because I went through all of that, and it's hurtful. And there's so many times where I've cried. There's so many times where I look at myself and it's like, what did I do wrong? Why are they still treating me this way? Why do they always have to depend on me in certain areas? Why can't they do it for themselves? Oh, but they can't ask fulano de tal because they set boundaries. So now they're expected, or you're expected to step up because the other person set boundaries when they don't even want to learn how to be independent, or learn how to be um or learn how to work for themselves. Like we need to protect our peace and our happiness
Yeah.
and the love for ourselves,
Yeah.
because it can overwhelm you, and it can create chronic illnesses because we're over here overstressing ourselves. And it's a fact. It's
Yeah.
scientifically proven. So why are we going to put ourselves in that situation when we can easily remove ourselves from that situation, learn to love ourselves, learn to protect our peace, learn to set boundaries, learn to let go of fear, of guilt, of control, and let everybody just do their thing? Because at the end of the day, people would love to be around you if you're a happy and positive person instead of a negative, controlling person.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what I also want to talk a little bit about is um and I want to talk about it because it was a comment that we got on TikTok, I believe, where not only is it just us setting our boundaries, but also other people set their boundaries, and you have to respect those too. Even though if you
Mm-hmm.
don't agree with them,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
have to respect their boundaries, because it's not just you setting your boundaries and say, okay, well, I set my boundaries, and because I set my boundaries, it is what it is. No, like other people can also set their boundaries, and
Yeah.
whether you like it or not, you respect it. And
Mm-hmm.
when I read that, I'm like, oh, that's so true, because I it resonates with me, because my daughter, well, she has her daughter. And as a grandma, sometimes, I want to, step in and I want to tell
Yeah.
her, but I have to respect her boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Mm-hmm.
it's hard. It's
Yeah.
it's easy for me to set a boundary, but it's so hard to try
To
to,
respect it.
to respect hers. It is just kind of like I bite my tongue, I step back, and most of the time I just act like
Yeah.
I don't hear what she's telling her, or I don't, try to see what that she's doing. So I'm like, I don't know. I like,
Just walk away.
it's hard, I walk away, but you know what? Because I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I was there. I my boundaries or were stepped on, and
Yeah.
I put my foot down and they were taken the wrong way.
Yeah.
But because I didn't like it, I try not to do it with my daughter. I'm not going to say that I'm perfect, and I do tell her, there's times, I say, maybe you could have said this, or maybe you could have talked about that, but at the end of the day, I say, hey, at the end of the day, you're her mom. You're going to do what you need to do, and that's it. Like, I
Yeah.
cannot overstep that, and so yeah, and that's the hardest part. So it's
Hmm.
not it's I think the easiest part is to set the boundary. I think the
Yeah.
hardest part is to respect other people's
Yeah.
boundaries, and
Yeah.
it's hard.
Yeah. And keep up with the boundaries because I mean, it's easier said than done.
Hmm.
And there's times where, yeah, we can place a boundary. And when it's a loved one, I mean, I struggled with this with my dad, and I struggled with this with with my partner at times because they tell me that they want their space or they want their time or they want, and it's like, but why? Like, I can do this for you. Like, I can do, and it's like, wait a minute, I catch myself. Oh my gosh, I placed this boundary because I'm tired and I got overwhelmed and I got um burnt out doing this. But because it became a routine where I was already doing it all the time. It was just like clockwork. And now where I'm like, you know what? No, I'm done. I need to actually step away. And I have to catch myself. And I think a lot of us will catch ourselves
Hmm.
trying to trying to not be a hypocrite ultimately. And and yeah, and be respectful of everybody's time and energy and be respectful of everybody else's boundaries and communicate. Ultimately, I think just communicate would also solve a lot of these issues.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then you start gaslighting, huh? I
Yeah,
need my time by myself. Ya no me quieres?
I
Por
know.
eso you
Yeah.
don't want to hang out with
What do you mean no?
me. You said I know.
You're telling me no?
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny. No, but yeah, I
But
mean,
it's
it is
true.
hard.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
It's not an easy thing, but I think the more you do it, the more, and yeah, communication is the key, It's like, hey, I've had to do it many times with my husband, and I've
Yeah.
had to tell him many times, honey, no soy, no soy tu enemigo.
Yeah.
I'm not attacking you. And
Yeah.
I had to sit down and tell him, because sometimes I would set a boundary and he would just look at me, and he would try to, like, um rebuttal it, and it's like, honey, I'm
Hmm.
not attacking you, no te estoy atacando. We need our space, or you need your time, or and I don't like this or whatever.
Hmm.
And he'll just sit down and he'll think about it, and he's like, oh, okay. But yeah, communication is the key to
Yeah.
everything. Hey, I'm
Yeah.
not telling you to attack you or to make you feel bad, or for you to feel guilty. It's just,
Hmm.
I'm setting a boundary,
Yeah.
and because we were not used to that, and because it's
Hmm.
something, you start doing, it shakes everybody's world, like, what do you mean?
Hmm.
you know
She would always tell me yes. What do you mean she's saying no?
yeah, exactly.
I mean, it was like that with work too. Like coming, so I also have a nursing background. So I would always say yes to extra shifts. I would always say yes to overtime. I would always say yes to work and work, work, work. And it got to the point where I was living more at work than I was at home.
Hmm.
And it was just piling up until I had enough, until enough was enough. And all of a sudden, I started placing that boundary with work too. Like, what? Like, I need to listen to my body. I was getting sick. I was going back to work even when I wasn't fully rested, even when I was sick, and my body was screaming that I needed to rest, but I was ignoring that because I was always saying yes to work. And it wasn't until maybe the last couple of years where I started placing the boundary of, you know what? No, I'm not gonna, it's not worth it. It's not worth my health. It's not worth. me stressing out. It's not worth me getting sick because I'm over here trying to please my manager and other coworkers when the other coworkers never even wanted to do extra shifts or never even wanted to work more or overtime. And and yeah, once I started, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna start saying no. Like I'm tired. I can't do this anymore. Like my body is already, it's telling me I need to start listening to my body. Because I'm tired of getting sick all the time and stressed out all the time. I'm just gonna start saying no. And I got a lot of pushback, a lot of pushback. And it's like, what the heck? My own job pushing, giving me a hard time because I'm saying no. Like, and that's when I actually started looking at life a little differently. I was like, if my job is doing this and my family is also doing this, and my partners at the time were also doing this, like what am I supposed to do? And that's when I started learn that was when I started also learning to set boundaries and um really getting to know myself because I didn't know myself without placing the boundaries. Like I was just saying yes to everybody. And the moment I started saying no, and the moment where I was also losing that fear of love, like, oh, if I say yes to everything and everyone, people are going to love me. Once I started letting go of that emotion, that's where I started really seeing the people who actually cared and who actually understood where I was coming from, and the people who were only taking advantage of me because I was saying yes all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, I saw a whole different side of other people when I started saying no. And it was people that I never expected would turn around towards me. I started getting written up at work. And it's like, what the heck? Like it was just insane the amount of people who I thought were always going to be there because I always said yes and because I was showing them my love by saying yes.
Hmm.
It really was draining me. It really was draining me. And I had to ask myself, if this is love, why does it feel so burnt out? Why does it feel so emotionally overwhelming? It shouldn't feel this way. I don't think it should feel this way. And that's when I started really digging into being in stillness. And that's when I started learning more about meditation and learning more about praying and really asking myself, what is it? What do I want to get out of life? And what do I want my life to look at? Or what am I
Look
trying to
like.
say? Look like, thank you. What is it? How do I want my life to look like and how to be more happy instead of losing my energy, my time. I've always struggled with that. And how can I recover from it? And that's where all of these years took me to where I am now. And yeah, it is a lot of work and it's a lot of reminding myself on it's okay to say no. It's okay to not people please. It's okay to not say yes all the time. It's okay to love myself a little extra when I feel like I should say yes, but of course, that it's my ego trying to say yes when in reality,
Yeah.
deep down, subconsciously, it's a no.
Yeah.
And um, and how does that look like for me? Do I feel like a lot of weight, a lot of pressure every time I say yes? Or do I feel more love, like more at ease when I say yes? And that's how I differentiate when is a good time to say yes or no.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, when I started to set boundaries, I think um was when I was working. I used to work for the school district. And one day an administrator, because I was there constantly, and
Hmm.
one day I got sick. And well, when when COVID happened,
Hmm.
and I wanted to quit because I started seeing my kids. There's no need. Thank God we're blessed, and there's no need for me to work. And I always stayed home with the kids. But because I had lost myself so bad, I wanted to get away, and so I started working. an administrator one day told me, she says, why don't you just stay home? Like if you have the opportunity to stay home. And I said, no, because I need to work and I need to get out of the house. And
Yeah.
she told me, she said, she said, I'm gonna be honest with you. And I remember we went into her office, she closed the door. She said, I'm gonna be honest with you. She had been she had gotten breast cancer and she continued working through chemo, through everything. And she said, she goes, someone else told me the same thing. She goes, but honestly, nobody cares for you here at work. She goes, that's honest. She goes,
Yeah.
because if you're gone tomorrow, they're going to replace you.
Yep.
She goes, but you're irreplaceable for your kids. She goes, always put your kids first, which I would, because I had done it before, but I think at that moment, that's what I needed to hear. And
Hmm.
it was something where I was like, you know what? She's right. If something would happen to me, it's not even work. They're just gonna hire somebody else and that's it.
Yeah. Hmm.
And she didn't mean it like to be mean or anything. I mean, she's wonderful, but she was just being straight out,
Yeah.
and she said it herself. She said, I did the same thing. She goes, when I got cancer, I worked through it. She goes, until I got to the point where I couldn't anymore. And I thought to myself, this is the reason why, I got all this, because I wouldn't take care of myself because I put work first. She goes, I
Hmm.
know. She goes, my children come first. She goes, and that's what I'm telling you. She goes, you're replaceable at work, not at home.
Yeah.
She goes, so, and that's where I just said, you know what? Yeah. So I quit that job and I stayed home with my kids and I started, seeing what they needed, seeing how happy I wanted to be, and then started setting boundaries with family. Because that's
Hmm.
always the first
Yeah.
step is usually your family, always. And it's the hardest part, I think.
Yes.
But yeah, it was because there was a lot of uh you know I guess it's now considered bullying, but like little subtle comments and stuff like that, where it's like, you know what? I don't like that. I feel
Yeah.
disrespected, and it was taken, I guess, out of context, or they felt betrayed, or they felt like, what do you mean? Like, I always tell you stuff like that, but it's like, yeah, but, I feel disrespected and I don't like it.
Yeah.
And that's where everything, I started with my boundaries, setting my boundaries with close family members. And it was hard, but when I started doing that, I did notice that within time they understood,
Yeah.
and they knew that, oh, okay, she needs her space or whatever. And it's a little bit different now. But yeah, and my kids set their boundaries. It doesn't matter who it is, they'll set their boundaries, and I like that because
Yeah.
they're not being disrespectful. They're telling me, you know what, I don't like that. I mean, you've seen my son does not like when they touch he has long hair, does not like anybody touching his hair. And he'll straight up tell you, please don't do that. I don't like that. And he's really good at setting boundaries. I think he's out of my three kids, he's the one that's like, he's straight out. But, and it's okay. It's okay because they're taking care of themselves.
Yeah. Earlier, you mentioned that you learned how to set boundaries with your kids. Can you briefly elaborate on that?
And how to set boundaries with my kids, like
Yeah, because you
in the
you
way
had
that,
you had mentioned that I've been learning to set boundaries, not um, with no kids, that you had to learn how to set boundaries with your kids,
oh, how to set boundaries. Well, I learned how to
or the
set boundaries
reason
because
why
I
you
had,
had to set
yeah,
boundaries. Yeah,
because of my kids, and one has to do with my son. His hyperactivity is something not a lot of people understand.
yeah,
And so with that, most of the time I would be the one that was hurt because he didn't even get it.
yeah.
Like he had no idea that, people weren't understanding him. But I would
Hmm.
come home and I would cry because people, and I'm talking about family members, they would not understand him. And even now, they still don't. But
Yeah,
it got to the point where before they would tell him stuff, and he
yeah,
didn't understand, where he was like, why are they telling me this? Or why do they say this? I didn't do anything wrong. And, I had to sit there and explain to him, uh, yes, you didn't do anything wrong. Some people just don't understand, you know, um, the way your brain works. That's what I would always tell him. The way
Mm-hmm.
your brain works, not a lot of people understand that.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, why? And I'm like, oh, because you just think a little bit differently, and some people
Mm-hmm.
don't think that way.
Yeah.
They think something different, and sometimes you have to understand them instead of them understanding you.
Mm-hmm.
Talking to them at that time, he was like, I want to say maybe like 6, and so he grew up with that, with people not understanding. I think that also helped him to set his boundaries of
Yeah.
no, like I don't, I don't like you doing that, or I don't like that, and
Yeah.
so that's how I had to learn to set boundaries with my family and tell them, hey, please don't tell my son that, or don't talk to him that way. I mean, if you
Yeah.
don't understand it, please let me know, but just
Yeah.
don't do it. Not because I didn't want them, to correct him or anything, but because not everybody learns the same. Everybody is different. We all learn
Yeah.
differently. And, as a mom, your kids, and which one, how one learns and how the other one learns. Even to discipline, they're different.
Yeah.
Maybe what I tell the oldest is not going to work with my second child, because she's more, she gets hurt easily. I
Yeah.
just have to raise my voice a little bit, she'll start crying. But it's like, because she's like
But
that,
yeah. Yeah.
and so they're not the same. But we were all raised to, what's that saying? I get that saying a lot. My mother-in-law tells me that saying a lot. Hay para todos o para ninguno. Like
Mm,
it's either all of them
all
or
or
none of them.
nothing. Yeah.
And it's like, why? Like maybe one doesn't like it and the other one does. Like, we're not all the same,
Yeah.
and so that's just something that with my kids I learned to do, and even with his own sisters. Hey, your brother does not like this, and I'll tell him, puppy, if you don't like something, say, hey, I don't like that.
Yeah.
you know just my daughters always tell me, sometimes they're upset, and I'll tell them, are you okay, mom? I'm upset right now, we'll talk about it later. Okay. And sure enough, later comes, I'll walk away because I know that later's going to come, and they're going to come and say, hey, mom, it's because I felt this way, or this
Mm-hmm.
happened. But I respected their boundaries. Sometimes I do, sometimes I worry. And like a mom, I'm like, just tell me it's okay. And I'll try to like beg them, but they're like, no, and okay, that's it. Then I'll just walk away. But, and that's the mom in me. But again, because it's so hard sometimes to
Yeah.
also respect their boundaries. But most of the time, I feel like I do a good job and just kind of let them go and be like, okay, I know they'll come back whenever they're ready.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how I learned to set boundaries, because of my kids. It wasn't even because
Mm-hmm.
of me, it was because of my kids. The thing is that when I started doing the work, I started to realize everything else.
Yeah. Yeah. How would you say now, how would you say the relationship with like my mom or my dad are now with boundaries and everything with you?
You know what? That I think that in the beginning, they both struggled.
Yeah.
I
Same.
think in the beginning they both struggled to understand, but I've had conversations with both of them separately about my
Mm-hmm.
children and about myself, and I feel good about it because now they understand. And sometimes they'll sit down. I know my mom's told me many times, and well, actually, they both have told me, you know, only you know what's best for your children.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to respect that. And
Yeah.
my dad, that's what my mom has said. My dad says, you know what's best for your children, and I can't tell you anything because times are different from when you grew up and when I grew up. He goes, I
Yeah.
don't understand it, but I know that you're doing a good job. And so I'm like, oh, okay. Because I mean, my dad sees it before. I mean, my dad, when my son was younger, and he was one of them that I would struggle with, because he would tell me, pues pégale para
Pégale, I
que se ponga
remember.
paz. And I was like, why am I gonna hit him? Like, and
Ocupa
my
unas buenas cintarazos. I
Yeah.
remember you would
And I'm
always
like,
say.
why? And so I told my dad one time, I said, no, I go, I'm studying, estoy estudiando, para saber, a ver cómo puedo ayudarlo. My dad's like,
Yeah,
"Mm, ahora resulta que en vez de que tú los eduques a ellos, te están educando a ti." I was like,
yeah,
oh my God, are you serious? But yeah, I mean, those were times where I was really,
yeah,
there were trying moments for me that I
yeah,
was like, oh my goodness, are you serious? But I kept going. I'm like, no, like that's not what I'm doing. I'm not repeating the cycle,
yeah,
you know? So I kept going, and I think um I can say a lot about my kids because I'm their mom and I can talk so positive about them. But um I get a lot of compliments when they're by themselves or they're with somebody else, and they'll come and tell me, hey, your kids are well behaved, or oh my God, they helped me out so much, or whatever, and it's like, oh, okay, because you doubt it. I mean, as a parent
yeah,
you do doubt
yeah,
it, but and sometimes I'm like, oh, just because I'm looking at them as with mom eyes, but no, I think that at the end of the day, it does work out. You just have to
yeah.
trust the process, just like everything else.
Hmm. Hmm.
And breaking cycles is hard, and setting boundaries is a cycle breaker.
It really is.
Yeah. And how about you?
And
How's your, like, how'd that conversation with my mom and my dad about boundaries go for you?
funny, my dad actually told me the same thing too. Like, no, well, it was different times. You guys think differently than what
Hmm.
how I was raised. He tells me that all the time too. And he's like, no, pues es que ustedes piensan muy moderno. I'm like, no, Dad. I'm like, whatever that means. Okay.
Yeah.
He's like, ustedes pueden porque son muy modernos. And I'm like, what is that? All right.
Yeah.
He's like, es que el tiempo de nosotros, pues ya no les sirve. Oh, all right, if you say so. But I feel like he's now actually being a little more understanding now than even 5 years ago, 10 years
And
ago,
open.
and being more open now than 5 or 10 years
Hmm.
ago. Because I mean, he recently just told me, and I think I even mentioned this in another podcast episode, how he was just so close-minded and he couldn't really understand where we were coming from and why we were doing things differently than how he was raised, than how he was, what was his normal compared to ours. And over time, like he literally just made a comment where I was like, oh my gosh, my dad is becoming a little more progressive. What?
Yeah.
He um he literally told me, he's like, oye, como que la salud mental sí es importante, ¿verdad? And I looked at him and I was like, what? He's like, como que sí se ocupa, ¿cómo dijo? Sí se ocupa salir de la rutina de vez en cuando. And I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
He's like, porque sí enfada, sí me siento bien, bien enfadado a veces, and bien cansado a veces, como que sí se ocupa salir de eso de vez en cuando. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like my own dad, we didn't even talk about anything that has to do with mental health. He just randomly said that, and I was so amazed that he just salió de él, que
Yeah.
a veces sí se ocupa salir de la rutina y que la salud mental sí es importante.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, if he's telling me this now, like I'm curious to see how the next couple of years is from now, where he's at. And I mean, I'm glad he's actually recognizing that now. It's better late than never. And and again, because I feel like we're leading by example. And with my mom, she's always been a little more understanding. It wasn't until recently, or maybe the last couple of years, that I actually got to have a relationship with my mom. It was always on and off with my mom since I was young, since I was a teenager. So I didn't really have my mom involved in my life as much. And and I mean, I've always told both of my parents like, hey, and my whole family, um, and being very direct. And at first they said, okay, está bien. Being direct as in, if you want to have a relationship with me or be involved in my life, like I would love to have a relationship with you and be involved in your life. But if you do not want to, or this is so different from you, so not your normal, like I'm okay with just keeping it at a distance. I'm okay
Yeah.
with just removing myself and I'm doing my own thing. And I know it sounds very harsh, but at the same time, it's I know it sounds very harsh and very unloving, but that's my way of saying I love you, but I also love myself as well.
Yeah.
And I'm also putting my peace and my well-being first. And if it's reciprocated, or if you're willing to be in my life, I'm more than happy to also be involved in your life, and it will be reciprocated.
Yeah.
And I feel like at first they probably didn't understand, and over time they started coming around. My dad has been a little more understanding and be like, no, pues sí, I mean, tú ya como quien dice, ya eres harina de otro costal y si son decisiones que tú estás tomando, like, pues bueno, cada quien. And with my mom, it took her a little bit before coming around, but I mean, she's now coming around and she's now being a little more involved in my life. And again, it's going to be reciprocated. And and I mean, same thing goes for all my family and all my friends. And and yeah, it's been a journey because I feel like a lot of people didn't really understand. But once I started noticing that some of these people started their own healing journeys, they come back and say and tell me like, "Oh my gosh, I now understand what you're talking
Yeah.
about." Or now, ya me cayó el 20. Like I totally
Yeah.
get it. I get it now.
Yeah. It's like you weren't being mean or rude. Like you were
Yeah,
just trying to
yeah,
love me.
yeah, yeah. And it's like, oh my gosh, yes, like I need to focus. And yeah, problemas siempre va a haber. Everybody has problems. Everybody has going through something that they need to focus on
I don't
themselves
think they're
for. And
problems. I think they're like disagreements. More like disagreements, not so much problems.
no, what I'm referring to is sometimes we need to focus more on ourselves than other people
Oh, uh-huh.
because again, when you're going through a healing journey, when you're going through a transformation in your life, it's going to get really lonely. And
Yeah.
you need to you need to have that loneliness and that stillness in order to advance. Because if you're surrounded by so much energy, if you're surrounded by so many people criticizing, if you're surrounded by people who are not respecting your boundaries, it's hard. It's hard to
Yeah.
go through a healing journey. You have to physically and mentally remove yourself from that situation, regardless who it is. Like you
Mm-hmm.
literally have to hibernate because it
Right.
really is a hibernation. You have to hibernate and go through that journey by yourself. Like nobody can go through that journey for you. You have to do it for yourself. Once you do start doing the work, a lot of stuff is going to come crumbling down. And again, a lot of criticism is going to come with that. And that's where I'm talking about where people need to have that time for themselves in order to help other people because you can't help other people if you're not helping yourself.
Yeah.
You can't help other people or love other people if you don't love yourself or help
Mm-hmm.
yourself. You can't care for somebody else if you don't care for yourself.
Right.
So it's something that yes, we all love to help other people. We all love to serve other people. We all love to place boundaries, and that has to be respected and reciprocated as well. but we have to do it ourselves first in order to
Yeah.
continue and
Yeah.
feel the love as well and
Yeah.
receive the love as well.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
all that to say, you come first. You
Yes.
come first. Your
And
boundaries
it's
come first. You're not disrespecting anybody. You're not making anybody feel guilty. You're not uh what else? You're not shaming anybody. It's just you're putting yourself first. That's it.
and it's time to put ourselves first. How many times have we put everybody else first and ourselves last?
Hmm.
And how did that make you feel?
Yeah. And what do you
What
get
did
out of it?
Yeah. And what do you feel? What do you get out of it when you put yourself last?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but if you're the type of person that loves the stress, loves to be unhappy, loves to be angry, loves to like put everybody else
Complain,
first
be
and be
negative.
complaining, yeah, victimize yourself, then just keep
Go
living the
for
way
it.
you're living.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing that can be done because nobody can do
Yeah.
the work for you. You have to do it
Hmm.
yourself.
Yes.
You have to do it yourself. It doesn't matter what anybody says. They're not going to be there for you the way that you think they are.
Hmm.
They're not going to do the work for you. You're going to do it yourself. Y muchas de las veces ni te van a apoyar,
Mm-mm. Nope.
you know? Al contrario, they're going to attack you. They're going to try to guilt trip you. They're going to, judge you. And that's, you should be well aware of it. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you're doing it for you. And whatever
Hmm.
you do now for yourself, you'll be able to reap what you sow
Hmm.
later on. And that's the
Yeah.
satisfaction that you'll get.
Hmm. And it's not selfish. I want to stress that. I'm trying to stress that enough. It is not selfish putting yourself first. It really
You're
is
not.
not. And I feel like a lot of people feel like it is, but it's not. It's not selfish because at the end of the day, how like you don't have the energy to help other people when you're not even capable to do it,
Yeah.
or loving other people when you're not even capable to do it, caring for other people when you're not capable to even doing it. And
Yeah.
that's all survival. I mean, we learned that's what we were raised in, survival mode. And hasta cuándo are you going to put an hasta aquí to it?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
ultimately, and it's and life becomes much more beautiful when you do. And it just you start noticing all the changes in general. Like even with your own body, you start noticing a lot of changes. And again, it's not we should not see boundaries as betrayal into our culture. We should not, because it's not. Yeah. And you can also say, I'd love to help, but I don't have the capacity to do it right now.
Yeah. Yep.
That's also a line I like to use for use as well, especially if you had a long day at work and you're mentally exhausted, you're mentally drained, and other people I stand chingue 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 asking you for something or asking you to do this, asking you to do that because they know you can't say no.
Yeah.
Like when that moment comes, remember that. How are you going to respond to that? You're mentally exhausted, you're mentally drained, you're physically drained. How are you going to respond to somebody when they need something, want something, or if it's um, something that is not even reciprocated?
Yeah.
So again, I'd love to help, but don't have the capacity to do that right now. And it's just point blank.
Yeah.
But again, it's all doing the work, it's all practicing, it's all being consistent, and
Hmm.
it's all just recognizing. I feel recognizing those patterns when they come.
Yeah.
And again, if it feels heavy, if it feels draining, if it feels all over the place, that's a sign that it's a no.
Hmm.
When you feel calm, when you feel at peace, when you feel okay to do it, then you can go ahead and do whatever it is that you want to do porque te está saliendo de ti.
Yeah.
And that's usually what I go based by. If it's something that if somebody asks me to do something and I feel like a very strong like gut or like a very strong like just weight around my chest, around my shoulders, my stomach, I know that's a no. That's a no for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me simplify it. If you feel at peace, it comes out of love. If you
Mhm.
feel like you feel a heaviness in your chest, that's obligation. You're doing it because you're feeling
Yep.
obligated to do it.
Hmm.
So that should
Hmm.
be an automatic no.
Yeah.
This does not resonate with me. This does not help me.
Yeah. And this goes with every decision in life,
Yeah.
everything, not just with your own family, friends, not just with boundaries, any decision.
Yeah.
If it requires a
Hmm.
yes or no decision, just lean on it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And trust me, you'll save a lot of not I don't want to say mistakes, but stuff that doesn't resonate with you.
Yeah.
Time. You'll save a lot of time for yourself.
Yeah. The old school way, like the way my daughter does, she writes down the pros or the cons. When she doesn't know what to say, she'll sit down and she'll write the pros and the cons, and then she'll weigh it out. I'm like, okay, well, that works too.
Yeah, but cada quien. But this is something that at least I know has helped me distinguish when to say yes or when to say no.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, guys. Oh my gosh, I feel like this time always goes by so fast.
I know. Always. Always. And there's just so much to
I
say.
know there really is. And I mean, we're going to continue regardless. Once again, I want to thank each and every one who has been listening or watching or commenting on our videos, sending us messages. We see you. We see those
Hmm.
messages. If we haven't responded to any of the messages, we're getting there. We are getting there. Um, but we appreciate just your loving words. And I mean, I know sometimes we've had some comments that don't agree with what we have to say, and that's okay. Like, hey, I get it. That's your
Yeah.
decision. That's your decision. That's your
And we
discussion.
respect it.
We respect it. Yeah,
Yeah.
ultimately. And so but I thank you for commenting and and putting in your input. And but like as always, I'm gonna go ahead and link everything in the description box where you can reach us, find us, subscribe, follow on all our social medias. And I hope you're enjoying these discussions as much as we actually enjoy talking
Yeah.
about it.
If there's something that you guys want us to discuss, a topic you guys want us to dive deeper in, go ahead and comment or send us a DM or a private message, and we'll happily, look into it and do a podcast on it.
Yeah.
So feel free to, if there's anything you guys want us to dive deeper in discussion about.
Yes, for sure. And as always, I also leave our email address on there too, in case you do not want to DM or comment or message us in our social media. You can go ahead and send us an email.
Mhm.
But as always, sending a lot of love and light to each and every one of you and to you, sister.
The same to you, sister. And we'll see you guys on our next podcast.
Bye.
Bye.